with prediabetes and diabetes and their loved ones have so many questions about nutrition and healthy eating and controlling their blood sugar. So we'll go over that today, but it's important to know that even though we'll have lots of different tips and advice, change is hard, especially when it comes to your food, which is so personal to you. So perhaps if you find this is overwhelming, just pick one or two small things that you know you could work on right away, and then come back later, maybe in a month, watch our video again, and if there's something else that you think you could do, add another goal in at that time. So our first meal is to try your best to eat 3 meals a day, spaced about 4 to 6 hours apart. And that's because skipping meals can actually make it harder to control your blood sugar. Believe it or not, when you skip a meal, your body really doesn't like it. It doesn't like that it didn't get the energy that it needed from your food, and it kind of panics and may actually start making its own sugar. So you could have a higher blood sugar just because you didn't eat. Or if you take certain medications, you may end up with a low blood sugar. For example, insulin is one medication, or there's certain pills that can cause your body to make too much insulin. And that can actually make your blood sugar low if you skip a meal. So if you don't know what a low blood sugar is, if you don't know how to treat them and you want more information, we have a whole video on low blood sugars, or talk with your diabetes educator. The other piece of this is to try your best to eat your first meal within an hour of waking up. You've gone all night without anything to eat, so your body expects when it wakes up to get some fuel. So having that meal within 1 hour, it helps your body have the fuel that it needs to get your energy started for the day, and it quiets down your liver from making too much sugar in the morning. Try to keep those meals about the same size. So a lot of people tend to like to have maybe a big breakfast, a little lunch, and then a really big supper. And that can make your blood sugar more variable through the day, versus if you have equally sized meals, your blood sugar will rise nicely and fall between meals, so it's more steady rather than spiking and dropping. Try to keep those meals well balanced. And we do have a whole video on meal balance, so I won't talk about that in too many details today, but this is the general balance plate, and please do watch that video on meal balance if you want to know more about it. The next tip is to limit sugars and sweets. So things like table sugar, regular pop, juice, desserts, candies, jams, honeys, and syrup. All of those sweets are enjoyable. We do enjoy treats, most of us, but they are high in sugar. And the more sugar we eat, the higher our blood sugar goes. So it does make it harder to control. So it's trying to find a balance where you can enjoy little treats sometimes, but not overdo it. The next tip is to limit the amount of high-fat foods you eat. So things like fried foods, chips, pastries, all of those make it harder to lose weight. And a lot of people with diabetes do have a weight loss goal. So eating high-fat foods means that your body is getting more calories likely than it really needs. And it's also getting the types of fat that are hard on your heart or raise your cholesterol. The next tip is to eat more high fiber foods. So fiber comes from things like whole grains, like whole grain breads, whole grain rice, whole grain cereals, also things like legumes like lentils, chickpeas, beans, or it comes from fruits and vegetables. Fiber helps us feel fuller longer, so it can actually help us lose weight if we eat more fiber. It can help our cholesterol levels, and it can help our blood sugar. Our blood sugar doesn't rise as high if we have more fiber in our diet. If you're thirsty, the ideal choice is to drink water most of the time. Blood sugars over time can potentially damage your kidneys, and your kidneys need enough water to stay healthy. So having about 6 to 8 cups of water at least per day is recommended. And the reason water is better than other choices is because it has no sugar, no calories, so it won't make you gain weight or make your blood sugar go up, but it is hydrating. Some people do find though that it's pretty plain and they get tired of it. So if you want something different, some more flavor, maybe add a squeeze of lemon, some crushed berries, maybe some cucumber and mint. There's lots of different ideas of ways to flavor your water like that. Or maybe look for something that's a no sugar drink on the shelf. So there's lots of options now of flavored water, either sparkling or not. that has a little bit of extra flavor added to it, just to give it a taste that's different than plain water. There's also flavoring drops that you could add to your water that are no sugar drops. Or maybe consider things like diet pop or diet juices. Those are flavored with artificial sweeteners. And yes, some people are a little uncomfortable with the idea of aspartame or other sweeteners that are added to our foods. Just understand that those are approved by Health Canada as being safe in the amounts that we would normally consume them, and they don't raise your blood sugar. So if you're really struggling to cut back the sugars in your diet, some people find using artificial sweeteners can help. Compared to water though, something like regular pop really isn't an ideal choice for blood sugar. And the reason is this can of regular pop, believe it or not, has 10 sugar packets worth of sugar in just this one can. And that's the same for fruit juice. Even 100% fruit juice has about the same sugar as regular pop. So it really is something that we find makes it harder to control your blood sugar if you're overdoing it with regular pop or fruit juices. So maybe think about a goal, a small goal even, of starting to cut that back. If that's something you have a lot of right now, if you're having 2 or 3 cans a day, could you maybe just stick with 1 for now? Or maybe have it every second day. Maybe replace it with something like a fizzy water that it still gives you that fizziness and sweetness, but doesn't have that huge amount of sugar in it. Our next tip is to add some physical activity into your life. So although that doesn't seem like it's directly nutrition related, it is so good for our health, and it can help us actually use our sugar better after meals. So for example, if you notice your blood sugar is always the highest after supper, perhaps going out for a little bit of a walk after supper can help your body use your sugar better from that meal. So that's all of the tips that we're going to go through today. Hopefully that was helpful. If you want more information about nutrition, healthy eating, and diabetes, please do ask your diabetes educators. We are the Rito Community Health Services diabetes educators. We have a team of diabetes educator nurses and dietitians who can answer all of your questions about blood sugar and other topics for you. Or you can visit diabetes.ca, or you're more than welcome to visit all of our other great videos.